I have my fun in my toys. I like I have my drones and I'm really good at them.
Yeah,
but
nothing
one
wrong with
beautiful
that. That's a good
thing, yes,
knowledge is from behind them.
Is that I use my talents for people.
That's right.
I've been doing this for so long. So what it does to my passions is it makes them have a purpose, even better, because I'm helping people. And now here's what people do with their passions in greed hell. They actually use that passion to try and make money. They go after money first.
Exactly.
And then the money kills the passion.
Yeah,
it
eats away at it.
That's everything the devil touches, it kills.
That's right.
And that's how you know what that is.
And that makes him happy.
Yes.
Because that means he's destroyed one more life.
Right.
And that's his ultimate goal, is to get more and more, to reel them in.
Right.
Bring them in.
And it's all a lie. They're just running to it. It's so shocking.
And it's sad. It's sad that they don't run to the right way. It takes something very traumatic or very critical in their life or crucial to turn them around and go, wait a minute.
Right.
Oh, no.
The Happy Healers candidacy is one of them. Because I know one thing is for sure, that I'm always going to be speaking the truth, and that you matter enough to hear the truth. In that some of the things I say, they say I sound like a preacher sometimes. And I just say, well, that's my passion for love coming out.
That's right.
But and I don't mind if I'm speaking to God's goals. That's what we should all be doing.
Of course.
That's love. But that it turns out for all of us, that's a great thing, because it's only doing great things for us. And it's the right things to do. It's not the things that don't have hope of giving back.
That's right.
It's things that actually have real hope of giving back.
Amen.
The kind of thing that stays with people. It doesn't just...
That's right.
Yeah.
I agree with you 100%.
Unbelievable, though, some of the things that we witness, Fred.
Yeah, it is.
And that we bounce back from in this life.
Well, I think humans are resilient. We'll live on. We'll make it through it. The strong, even the weak. I don't like to say anybody's weak. I mean, we have our weak points. We have our weak times. You might be sick. Ailment. You might have the flu. That's a weak time.
Right.
But all humans have the capability of being strong.
That's right.
Mind, soul, spirit, and grabbing themselves without anybody's help and saying, you know what, I didn't need anybody but him, my higher power, to move forward and make a better life for myself. I did use money. Yes, of course I needed it to pay bills, to fuel my vehicle, to eat.
Money itself is a great thing if you can use it as a tool. I'm good with even the reward system. People think capitalism is just, that's greed is capitalism, the same thing. No, there is a reward system, and you can't shock people into change.
That's right.
There's a way to get there. And that ultimately speaking, if you're getting the main thing right, and that's that people matter most, and that you put it into the laws and you define clearly what that means, that because people matters, we'll no longer tolerate things like people dying on the streets, that lone soul that's waiting for somebody to show up because for so long they've been waiting, and that nobody ever showed up and then they died. We won't let that happen in a world where people matter.
Let me ask you this: what do you think of socialism?
That's what I'm saying is we got to take care of people. So we've got to feed people. They got to have an income for all. Because before you can even live your dreams, what if your dream is to be a monk? All you desire to do in this whole life is just to serve other people with love, to show them enlightenment.
That's awesome.
You're not free to do that in America. If you are an American citizen, before you can realize that beautiful truth, you have to first work 40 to 80 hours a week to realize your sustenance. That's to say your roof over your head and food in your mouth. And until you do that, you can't do anything else. But then don't worry. After you work your 80-hour work week, and that's not including going to and from work, then you can start working on being a monk if you have any energy left at all. After greed hell was done with you. Yep. And so that's the average American's hell. They have these ambitions. They know that we live in the rich in a world. They say, what does American exceptionalism mean if there is absolutely nothing exceptional about being an American when we can be exceptional? That's in vain. if we can do better for people. So I start with that, an income for all. People have to have the ability to live out their passions. Not only will we get people that are not lazy, as it turns out, but that they'll be working harder than ever for their passions, versus in slavery,
Amen.
they were just working for the man. Then we have healthcare, because we can't have people dying on the streets again, and that people matter, and that they have purpose and value. And so that when you write it into the law that people matter, that's what it looks like, that you're actually putting laws in place, and you're saying we're doing this because humanity ultimately matters more than money. And we start young. We educate people because they matter. We educate and we teach them, and we have camaraderie. We have institutions of high. We have institutions of all learning, and people, they just don't stop learning, and that they go on learning. Nobody ever gets older and says, oh, I'm done living now. I'm done serving humanity now. So we start young and we never stop.
That's right.
And so that's my educational view. That's my income for all, and that's my freedom for all really plan, because that's how we get to exercise self-determination.
That's right.
Otherwise, the guy who is so determined to be a monk, so determined, no matter how much he made himself so determined, he could never live that reality.
That's
and
right.
so where's his freedom?
Where is he going to end up? What's going to happen?
Lovers, they always, what they do is they forget the greed hell and they do their passion anyway. So the lovers end up on the streets and dead. I say it all the time. I've been saying it I've seen that truth so clear. I said, God, thank you for showing me that truth, because that's the truth that really shows you what everything is about. When you see people who give everything for everyone else, and yet they still die on the streets, I'd say that's the best in us dying. And then you have the greed hell bastards going by pointing at them, and they're laughing with their horns, and they're saying, lazy bum, that's what you get for not having a job, despite the fact that this guy, monk, perhaps, is living a life for humanity.
That's right.
Living a life giving
Living
back
for other people,
not
not
all
just
of them.
himself.
A lot of them have different, people on the streets, but this is the explanation
He's
for
not a
a
selfish
number of
person.
people. Yes. And it's people, even those who are in that hell, they have it in them to be this. They would prefer to be that, because that's where love is, than they would be anywhere else. People want to be recognized in humanity. I call it the human humdrum. That we want to be loved in humanity. We want to be cared for in humanity. We want to know that if we were weak, brethren was going to come and pick us up, and that ultimately we'll be okay. And that gives us a freedom feeling like no other.
That's right.
And so love's abundance solves, it serves, yes. And it solves, it serves, and it provides. And it never gets tired of doing that. Even if the individual gets tired, the collective is always at work.
That's right. Happy Healers never gives up.
Nope, never gives up.
He's going to keep on going. It's going to keep on getting
That's
bigger
right.
and better.
And there's so many wonderful happy healers, and I'm so proud of that.
That's right.
That's one thing I always talk about, are the number of people who have committed themselves.
The followers. They're coming in abundance.
That's right. They realize the hell that this really is.
And that we are in a critical time. And
right.
We need some happy healer to come and pick it up.
That's
and move
right.
it forward.
We need a happy healer to unite this country.
That's right.
We need somebody that has the ability to unite.
What is the old saying? Together we rise.
Right. Together we rise, or apart we fail and we die.
That's
and
right.
we suffer too. And so that's what some nefarious forces sadly would like to see happen to all of us. And that they're winning, Fred.
Yeah,
and that they're winning.
The battle.
Because right now...
And we don't want them to win it.
No, we're not going to let them. That's the one unknown. One thing that Elizabeth Warren always says is, oh, I got a plan for that. Oh, I got a plan for that. Right. I said, oh, I don't think she has a plan for her happy healer. No, sir. She don't have a plan for the happy healer.
She's got her plan.
That's right. And it's the wrong plan.
Right.
And she says she knows about opiate addiction. I'm sorry. She's not going to get the respect of people who are going through that hell, so close to death, dying.
If she knew about it, then where is her view on it?
Right. Throwing hundreds of billions of dollars at it and hoping for the best. That's what I call it. It's the same thing they do with everything.
Companies are getting richer and bigger and richer and richer. Right. They provide and make the pills. Okay. You go to a doctor and you ask him for help. You know, I can't give them to you. So why are you making them?
Right.
If I can't get
people who need them can't get them, but then for some reason they're all out on the streets. People are dying.
You go to a doctor and you write down and you see the secretary, then you go in and the doctor, first time, hi, how you doing? And you say, how can I help you today? Well, I've got an opiate addiction. I need methadone. Can't help you. Sorry, sir. And
that's horrible. Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah, the shaking the hands out. He won't even look you in the eye.
Tell me what Elizabeth Warren knows about that hell when someone's trying to come back into the life, and that they don't. Here is the problem too. We used to drive all the time, every week. How often a week?
700 miles a week.
Oh my goodness. Coming to this location, how many bad things happened in that time? We already just talked about somebody who got ran over by a car. I mean, so it's not just the death that the drugs themselves are putting out, and I talk about this all the time. It's also the death of the life. It's not a life worth living, that they're taking it from people. And because they're spending, like he's spending 700 miles. That's gas money, that's time, and then once you arrive here, on average, you have, how long do you wait to get seen? To even get your dose?
Sometimes an hour, and then I spend another, money there too.
I've waited up to 2 hours.
Me too.
And then you got to pay your $16 fare.
And
this is how we're taking care of sick people, friends.
And then what does that average out to? $16. We're talking about what, $500 a month?
A month from people that are dying.
And you know what doesn't make a bit of sense is your insurance. Oh, we don't cover that.
Right.
Why you got insurance then?
Yeah, this is why people are dying. So if you're really committed to a solution for the opiate crisis, well, then you have to get behind somebody who's got brains, can handle real issues, who knows that we need to come out of greed hell to get anything done. And then it just so happens that it also helps that person has been in that hell. That hell means something.
And they're not in denial. They're in reality now.
Right.
They're not saying, "Oh, I'm not an opiate addict. I didn't have no problem." They're saying they did have a problem.
Right.
They don't have a problem admitting
These are people ready to move into their new life, and that they're still dying. They can never make a break. They learned how to ask for help. There's so many people that have never even had a drug addiction that'll never know what it's like to become humble because they just manage their lives and they're just so perfect, but really they need to be humble. And yet there's so many of these other people who they've been so humbled, and yet that's not enough. They're still dying.
That's right.
It's shocking.
It's devastating.
And unbelievably unacceptable.
It is unacceptable, and we know that our great king won't accept that.
Right.
And he's not going to accept it. That's why there is, he's here. And he's going to be more visible as days go on.
Right.
It's just what you see of them.
I say each person, this is why you have to let that monk be a monk. You have to let the monk be a monk because you never know. This could be our Jesus Christ. Look, if Jesus Christ ever showed up here, right, the first thing he would realize is before he could be Jesus Christ and live selfless, he would first have to get a job, work 40 to 80 hours a week. I mean, this is insanity. And then he would have to put up with everybody calling him a jobless loser and everything else for wanting to live a selfless life of love, giving back.
That's right.
And that
doesn't make a lot of sense.
And the gift that we were given in this time, Fred, was technology and robotics. The very ability to come out of our jobs and to let the technology take over on many of those monotonous, thankless jobs so that we can have an income.
I think we're going in the right direction as far as knowledge and things go with internet and capability. People starting their own business online from their home, from whatever. That's great to know that you could sit down by yourself,
and we want so many more of those people.
Of something that you could create a website on.
Right.
And next thing you know, but don't forget, when you become successful, use some of that and start a charity.
Right. And to be given back as you go. Figure out. Like recently I was looking at something I wanted to envelop myself into because I've always, this is not a cheap endeavor, and unlike many of those condescending candidates, I've self-funded to the extent that I sold my house to do this. I have to think in almost ingenious ways to make the things that you see happening happen.
That's right.
And so the part of that is that, and I forgot what I was saying right before that.
Well, we were talking about when the camera fell, I kind of lost
it's okay. You're right. That's what happens.
But we're allowed to do that. That's part of life, you know.
You know, we get so passionate about this.
Yeah, we're excited about the movement.
And there's a lot that we're doing, and there's a lot that we're fighting against. So, you know, you take your eyes off the ball for just a moment, and then the whole thing goes tumbling down the hill,
That's right.
so to speak.
Well, you're always going to have that group that wants to feel like they're doing good, speaking against you. Oh, he's crazy, or he's not fit for this, or you know what? What the hell would we do with a president that was in recovery or is in recovery from opiate dependency?
And that
you would embrace him and say, this man's got to be good if he's able to run and look everybody in the eye and say, hey, I'm recovering from this problem, but I still got my feeling and passion and power to help you. If I'm in the White House, I want to make changes for everybody, not myself.
Well, that's the thing. You're not less than. I go right off the bat, Fred. I go right off the bat, and I do it every time. I'm no less than because I'm on a medication, just like you're no less than because of some of the ailments you undoubtedly have, some of the imperfections you suffer from. Sometimes they're just not realizing you have them.
That's right.
And so, you know, then they say to me, what imperfections do I have? And I smile.
That's all you can do.
And so, you know, the reality of it is we just need a lover, we need a uniter. Somebody who realizes, a moment ago we were talking about people who, selflessness, and you were talking about people who have the opportunity to create wealth in this country and a job.
You know, you talked about, you know, he advocates for everybody,
right?
Himself. He's not even thinking about himself in any
So
matter, shape, or
here's
form.
what I was getting at. How can you marry the monk with the guy who wants to make money? Because ultimately in greed hell you need to, or you'll end up like the lovers who die on the streets.
That's right.
So, and you got to be selfless and give. Ultimately, that's what we want to do. We want to serve to that purpose. So because we want to serve to that purpose, we have to go to that other ugly thing too.
That's
but
right.
How do we make this all come together? And so the way that's worked very well, and the way that I'd like to see more people do, is that when you serve through your passions to make money, but not for greed hell, you're doing it in a way that's helping people, and that is indeed what your passion is, ultimately, then that you're served back by doing that in multitudes of ways and in compounding ways. That's how God works. That's how God's love works.
Yep.
So that when you're working for that, you end up getting more, not less, more, so that you're more empowered to do more. And so that's the part
agree
that
100%.
That's the part that I'm so proud of when I see people that are working in that direction. Also, people that they'll make a sacrifice. This life is a sacrificial life. Just like our great Jesus.
Right.
And the truth is, this life, if you're not willing to make any kind of sacrifice, then you're not going to have anything.
No.
And that, ultimately speaking, I feel so strongly about that because that's where we're going to be able to do these big things for each other.
You know, it's just like, you know, my son was talking to me a while, I guess it was about a week or so ago, and he was talking about, I think it was, they were doing something, and he said something about, hey, you know what was great? Man, I came in second. And I said, that is good, but there's a problem with that. And you know what the problem about second is? That only means you were the first one to lose.
Right.
Think about that.
That's right.
Second only means you were the first one to lose.
That's right. You got to go for number one. It
still ain't good enough. You
right.
got to go for
You always got, and in passion, that's what I say is we're always working our hardest for the right reasons. We're not doing it just for recognition. We're doing it because we actually care.
Yes,
and so that's how we get served back, because the better and more successful we are at the business that we choose, we define that not by the money that's coming into the bank, but we define that by how good we can do, how much better we can do, how successful we are at the things we love doing. And when that money comes in, how much more enabled we are to do more of that and to become better at doing that. And so that's what I really see as being the crown jewel in all of this, because when people live their life in a way that makes a sacrifice for the fact that they don't want to chase money, really. They would rather be going after the love.
Yes.
And you're not permitted. You're not really free.
That's right.
You're not free to do that stuff. So you have to play greed hell's game, but that you learned how to turn greed hell up on its head.
You can do it. And everybody can do it.
That's right. And so that when you take from the greed hell, because all greed hell knows about is taking from love.
That's
but
right.
that when you take from the greed hell, you give it back to love. There is something so powerful about that in this world.
Strong.
So, my goodness, so strong. And that there's a supernatural power and strength that it's completely incompatible with that hell, and it's all loving and all God. And so it's a beautiful thing to say on a Sunday for people who are so in tune with going to church and realizing their
higher
faith,
power.
and that there is a higher power. And I'm very spiritual. I realize
that's a good thing.
That is a good thing, and I'm very open-minded.
I think a lot of people are, and they're just afraid to admit or say it's for fear that somebody might down them or their family might look at them and go, well, you were born a Catholic. What do you mean you believe in the Jehovah Witnesses?
Right.
Well, if you do that, then you're out of the family, or you can't have your trust fund.
Yeah, this is ridiculous.
So that means
that's
your
not freedom.
view or your morals and what you created in your mind for yourself. Like I know you do, and I did. I have morals, certain things.
Right.
Like
the truth matters.
I don't mind giving out this information as a moral. I'm not going to sleep with a woman like I did when I was in my 20s and 30s just to sleep with them.
Right. It's got to be a something.
It has to mean something.
Right.
And if it's not going to lead
love
to
matters,
something, then I'm not going to do it just for pleasure.
Right.
Not anymore.
Love matters.
That's like taking
People
advantage
matter.
of somebody.
Yeah.
Because then what happens when the female or the male or whatever it could be says, I think I'm falling in love, and you said, wait, but I didn't tell you to do that.
That's
so
right.
They get mad. They feel scorned or rejected.
That's an interesting topic, because I myself am a gay man, and I bring people together. There's a lot of my supporters who supported Trump before they supported me, and then there's a lot that supported the Democrats. So the Democrats love me for their reasons. The Republicans and conservatives love me for their own reasons.
Right.
But I get to be me through the whole process. So they're all in the same room. That's the thing I love most. People from such different spectrums, but they become one. And that's the unity we need.
Right.
Because I could actually bring people that were once before kind of almost in the bigoted realm to a whole different way of thinking, because now they met someone like me. That was important for their discovery.
That's right.
And for their journey. And that I recognize that. And that I represent the gay community, turns out, in a completely different way they never seen before.
And I used to be one of those people that thought, a hater against people that were different creeds, colors. The same thing with same-sex marriages. But I started to realize, that's not my
enlightenment. You got better.
I'm not. Let me see how I can say it.
I know how real this is for you, because I've heard you talk.
I wasn't put here to judge anybody.
That's right.
I'm no better than anybody.
Nope.
I just accept your ways. But I'm my way. I am a straight male, which is nothing wrong with. But that doesn't mean I can't get along with somebody that has their ways.
I admire that. I admire that
you
said that you have had faults, but that you have also gotten over them. And I know how real they are.
Yeah.
I know how real that you're getting over them is too, because the first thing you said inside was about how passionate you are about feeding people who are hungry in other countries, less fortunate, different colors.
That's right.
And that, to me, shows me your heart and your aptitude for enlightenment.
And I'm so glad that I was able to sit myself down. And it took a third reading of the Bible to realize, oh my God, I'm so wrong. And I felt so ashamed of myself. I said, I got to make a change.
Yes.
I've got to be able to say, listen, what anybody wants to do with their life, I'm not here to judge them. I can be friends with them. I can accept it.
Right.
I can hang out with them and understand it.
That's right.
There's somebody else that does that.
That's right.
And that's Jesus Christ and his Father.
That's right.
I'm not here for that.
And I believe that we
And I'm glad I can look at everybody and accept everybody for being human.
That's right. And I love that too. And actually, to me, I'm almost, not only do I love it, I like it. I like it, you know?
That's right.
I like it that we can have these opportunities of where we weren't doing well, but then that we came. It goes back to life is not about always succeeding. Sometimes it is about falling and then coming back up stronger.
That's right.
You're built stronger and you're better off for it. Now you're the teacher.
That's
now
right.
You're going back saying, hey guys, boys and girls,
That's right.
come over here.
Yep.
We got a lesson for you. You got to learn this, and that in teaching, you're successful because you've been there.
That's right.
Because that's so important to the story. And that's where they're not going to be successful with these opiate addicts and with any of these addicts because they come from a condescending point. You could choose whatever condescending candidate you want. They all virtually give us hell with no chance of unity.
You know what
that's
I thought
the
about,
scary part.
Not interrupt you or be rude, but you know what I've thought about would be helpful, and I don't know, I think they're headed this way with the opiate program, is I think the thought of putting machines on the street, like, you know, have you ever seen a OTB, off-track betting thing, where you can go in and gamble? It's a locked-in room, closed off. They have them in New York or whatever.
Yes.
Well, they should have those for opiate dependency.
Right.
Like almost like Red Box or Blue Box.
Right.
Instead of having to go into a clinic or go into a doctor,
you
should be able to walk down the street like a soda machine and put your ID in there and pay for it if it happens.
Right, like if you're going through that particular problem and you're a patient for this already, that you should have to you an option that doesn't always require racing within a 2-hour window that gets you killed.
Thank you. And having a time frame put on everything.
Right.
You got to be there at 5. Tomorrow you got to be there at 6. You only have till 10. You only have till 11. And then you either get there or you have to go late in the afternoon, but you can't tell anybody for fear that your job will be lost or your family will disown you for it.
Right. So, Fred, what do you think about Happy Force 1? She's a mighty beast, isn't she?
She's beautiful.
I love her.
I think that she's awesome, and I think that this is going to propel.
Oh man, I love it, and I love the challenge, in particularly of making everything work. And so when we were talking about what I want to do for, you know, an income stability and different things for my life, that I've always done business and I've always been very good at it when I do it, but that it's important to do things that I'm passionate about. I can't just do it for the money. That's not for me. It doesn't work. It doesn't work.
And I'm not saying it's wrong. It could work for some people, and if it does, that's okay. Go with it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't necessarily work for me either. I mean,
right.
I need it, of course, to pay bills, but
yeah, of course.
I'm not putting my whole life out there for money.
Right, because you realize the value of your soul and the value of your purpose and experiences.
That's right.
And that matters more.
I don't put a price on human life.
Yeah. So what ultimately I am looking at is so much. When I get into this stuff, man, I have to learn about it backwards and forwards.
That's right.
That's just the same way I learned about drones. I'm one of the best pilots, people, and they know who they are, and they know, you know who you are, and that you love the flying, you love the videos. People that are on the top of their game in the drone industry, that they come to me and say, and they're impressed by my ability and talent. Right. And here I am, just a happy healer running for president. They're doing it for a living, and that I just do it for a passion, but yet I'm getting their respect and platitudes. And so I'm really proud of that. And I take that on this journey. Every talent that I have, I take on this journey. Mm-hmm. I've been in the bus industry for 20 years. I know all about buses, the inside and the outside and backwards and forward.
What you were telling me about it is incredible.
And it's just
about the motor and how the generator it'll supply 3 houses with electricity. That's just unbelievable.
We have to be ready to work for the Happy Healer, love of truth and happiness.
And you have become prepared.
That's
You're
right.
ready for your journey.
This is a mighty beast, and she is most certainly ready. And you see Superman back there has the American flag. He's ready to go. He's holding it, ready to plant it into the truth, justice, and American way. That's right.
Right at the Oval Office.
And so I'm loving it there. I'm loving it, Fred.
There you go,
and
man.
I just won't stop working for that.
And I know there's a lot of people behind Happy Healers, and there's going to be more people behind you.
Let's do it. And I want your help in that. Absolutely.
You got my help all
and
the
that
way.
I want your help. I want all of us to build on it and to bring our friends and to really work for this future. And as we're coming into the different cities and states, be signing up and getting involved and going to the
Your
rallies.
vote counts.
Remember,
You
we're
count.
doing the speeches on the top of the bus. And so that's where our stage is. When we pull up to an area, Fred, it's so amazing.
That's right.
We bring our own electricity. We bring our own stage. We bring our own Happy Healer candidacy
that's
for
right.
president. And we bring the right ideas and love.
That's
and
right.
so, speaking of the right ideas, I am so passionate about, building this beast of a machine. She's amazing and has so many capabilities that other people want to be able to do this, but they don't know where to begin. They don't know how to begin. They don't know what to begin, but that your Happy Healer knows.
Right.
And so that I can help people. And so that could be a completely different avenue.
Of course.
Free information, tell them how to do it.
That's
and then
right.
of course on the side, paid for doing it for them.
That's
and
right.
so this is a way to help build onto energy independence. And by the way, you don't have any freedom at all if you're not energy independent.
This is true.
This is so true in life. It's hard to have freedom when you're constantly locked to just one place and you can't move about.
Or
you
locked
can't
in, so to speak.
mentally,
Right.
mainly,
And physically.
and physically. The thing is, we've become so used to our creature comforts. It's hard for us to leave home when we're so happy at home. We have everything we need at home. Why go anywhere? And that's
you got couch potatoes.
yeah, and that's a lot of what people are dealing with. But the happy
some people
force
feel
one.
like, that safe haven of being home, then they don't have to deal with anything outside of
I
that.
get that. And that's a dangerous world. If your insides are telling you stay home above all else,
Some
don't
people
leave.
get scared of going out.
I understand that. And that the bad
They
things
see
are out
everything
there.
happen on the
yeah.
streets, and they're like, "Whoa, I don't want to get involved."
No,
You
they
know, so
just
they
need
go-
to get
What
right.
do? They run to the store, they get gasoline, they get their cigarettes, or they get whatever they need.
Right.
They go home, they lock up the doors, they turn on the TV,
And they're done.
And
Yeah.
they don't even answer the door.
Right. They're just
They
MIA.
might answer their phone, maybe,
Yeah.
or if they think you're outside and you're calling, they'll turn that phone
Look
off.
at the insanity of the world,
Yeah,
I
man.
just
Some
can't
people
even blame them.
But you
It's
can't.
bad.
They start seeing all the bad things.
Yeah.
And they start going, well,
They get scared. It's
yeah,
fear.
they see
so
that
they need to get
in
over their
their
fear to
mind,
do
what they're
better.
seeing is the bads outweighing the good.
Right. It's
So they
that's
don't wanna,
the times
they
we
don't
live in.
think that their good can help outweigh the bad. So the best way to just stay away from it is to
Right.
do what? Stay enclosed.
Right.
Become a hermit.
Right. And a lot of people have done that. I've done that. And
Yeah,
I had when I did it. And partly when I was doing that, I was actually doing a lot of things. It wasn't so much about avoiding. I needed my own safe space because I was working towards a lot of information. I was doing so much meditation and learning about things and dealing with the addiction and the crisis from the world that they present to us and that we have to live in. That's where I learned all of these things, to even preach about them, to speak about them, to know about them. So to me, it was all part of
Knowledge
the
is
journey.
power, right?
Yeah, oh yes. And that's why I say, even though it seems like, okay, I was a hermit then, it seems bad, but because it brought me to such a great place, it was needed. It was part of my story.
There you go.
And I think that now that gives me enlightenment to know that other people need sometimes a moment so that they could think, so that they can work and process things,
That's right.
so that they can make sense of the world. It's so important to us in order to have a life worth living, in order to be happy and content, that we understand why things are the way they are, especially when they're so bad and they make so little sense and there's so much death, and you have to just wonder to the very nucleus, why are things the way they are? And so that's what your Happy Healer has done, learning so much about death and people he loves dying. And so it brought me to truths that I never would have been able to come to if I was being consistently bombarded with the hell that was bombarding everybody else.
Right.
I had to remove myself from that picture
Step
and
out
to
of
go
the-
into the magical world of the Happy Healer. And so I went into my own magical world. And then when this bus was conceived, the magical world came with me. And so right now you're within the confines of not only Happy Force One, but the magical world of the Happy Healer.
Amen.
And I love it. I love it. It's the Happy Healer world of truth, justice, and organization of happiness, and going the for all people matter, and that they have value and purpose in this life.
I agree with you 100%.
And that life means something. That ultimately it means something that your creator really. Well, that's where faith. It comes to faith.
You want your life to mean something.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
I really think everybody should want their life to mean something.
Yes.
Because they mean something.
Oh my goodness! And if they only knew how much they really meant, I think that they would do things different. That's what I did. Yeah. I realized
change is good sometimes.
Yes. And
some people get stuck in neutral and they don't change. They think they're feared of it.
Right.
Of what that change is going to do because they haven't seen it yet. So they figure, well, instead of going towards change, I'm familiar with this. This is working. I'll settle for it. I won't go for anything higher up.
Right.
I'll just stay where I'm at because I'm comfortable there.
And it's no good.
And they don't get to succeed or find the passion or what's really behind what they want to do and what motivates their life.
It's unbelievable.
And what they want to succeed in.
And we all should have that ability, Fred.
Yeah.
I'm